They're going to be calling you Boulder Shoulder Barry after this workout, brother. Welcome back to Self-Built. Today is a training video. I'm going to be showing you 3 different exercises that you can do in a home gym, commercial gym, basically whatever you have laying around to be able to focus on shoulders. This exercise is going to be mostly focusing on the front shoulder. It might be considered one of the least important muscles to work out because it gets hit when you're doing chest and some other things as well. If you want to have the highest chance to have the most fully developed shoulders, then you need to hit them as well. Now, if they start to overpower your chest and your arms, then you might want to back off a little bit, but I think that case is very far and few in between. This one's just going to be a couple of great examples of front delt exercises you can do. If you're running low on ideas and inspiration of how to hit that muscle without doing the same thing over and over, well, this video is for you. First shoulder exercise that we're doing are going to be a form of front raises. We're going to be doing an incline bench variation. You can have the incline at different levels. Just kind of play with it and see what you like, but just know that the lower down you go, the deeper of a stretch you're going to be, so depending on your shoulder flexibility, you might be limited a little bit, at least at first. And what you're going to do is lean back and you're going to have your weights. Typically when you're doing your front raises, there's not much tension. What this does is it flips it upside down to where you're going to be getting all the tension at the bottom. You're also going to be getting a deep stretch here. So go lighter than normal. Make sure you'll warm up a little extra just to make sure you limit any sort of injury chances. And you simply raise it like the other ones, but you're going to stop premature to where you start to feel the tension start to get easier. And then you're going to go down. Make sure you've got this portion under control and let it take you all the way to the bottom, get a really deep stretch, and then come back up. You're not going to need as much weight as you normally do with these because it's putting your muscles in a spot it's not used to, and you're also training in a very deep range of motion. And when you're training in a different range of motion, you're not going to be as strong as you normally train in it. So just be aware of that. And for this, just focus on getting that muscle fatigued, burning, and a good stretch. This is something that not a lot of people do, but I can tell you, if you do it, it's going to turn up the heat on your shoulders fast. And it is a good one, and it changes things up. A couple tips is, depending on how you're holding your weight, is going to vary on how you feel it. You can go overhand, neutral, or underhand. For me personally, I feel a much deeper stretch on my front delt if I've got the overhand position. But if you feel it more this way, then go with that. See what feels best for your body. But for me, I'm just going to be doing the overhand because I feel crazy good stretch just all the way through. The second exercise is going to kind of incorporate all of your shoulder muscle together, along with some really good stabilizer muscles too. The first one was mostly front shoulder. This one is going to be some free weight military press. And you can do this with many different options. You can use a Smith machine, you can do free weight, you can even do dumbbells. So whatever you've got laying around and that works for you and that's available, you can definitely use this one. Military press is a humongous show of strength and shoulder health. It's quite a challenging exercise because when you're just incorporating your shoulders, I mean, there's no other huge muscles that can really take over. You might be able to get a little bit of upper chest into it, maybe a bit of leg drive if you're standing. But overall, it is mostly shoulders and triceps. With my gym, I'm a little limited as far as being able to stand because my ceiling's a little bit low. There are ways around that if you don't want to sit. You can just stand with a very wide leg stance and not use 45s, so that way you're able to get that full range of motion without going through the roof. Something you'll notice is I really like to keep it under control and get a deep stretch on the lower portion of the reps. I'm not going for maximum weight. I'm going for maximum intensity on the muscles, time under tension, and a great stretch. Training for just big numbers isn't really a goal of mine. I just really like getting a ton of blood in the muscle, tearing it to pieces with time under tension, low rest, and drop sets. Those are kind of my bread and butter. If you're wanting to do it free weight and you don't have the luxury of having a rack that you can put the bar on, these are homemade, and I can put a video in the description below. It's not rock solid, but it's good enough. As long as you're aware of where you're putting the bar when you're re-racking it, you're not going to run into any issues. If you're very reckless and you just slam it around, you might move these a little bit, so just know that that could be a possibility. And that's another reason I'm not going to train maximum weight, because if you fail, it's kind of hard to control the weight on your way back, so just not worth it for me. Third and final exercise that we're doing is just cable front raises. The tweak that we're going to do is instead of holding it overhand, we're going to go underhand. And when you hold it that way, it's going to feel a lot different. And that's one thing just to remember with anything when you're doing an exercise in the gym. The smallest little tweaks of hand or foot placement, elbows, really anything that you change is going to affect how you're going to feel it, how your muscles are going to get hit. So just be aware of that and take advantage of it. Because if you're going to hit your muscles from a way it's just not used to, it's going to be forced to grow and adapt to that. And it also changes things up and makes it really fun. A simple tip to get a great stretch when you're doing some shoulder cable raises. If your setup is anything like mine, I'm not able to be fully just right by that cable. I'm away from it, which the tension starts where my hands are a little bit in front of me. And I want to try to get as much tension as low as I can. So what I'm going to do, instead of just starting here, I'm just going to lean back a little bit. And it's going to make that tension start a little bit sooner, if that makes sense. You can also bend your knees. Now, you don't want to lose your balance or anything, but just kind of tweak yourself just a little bit, and that way you're able to get a much deeper stretch and earlier resistance curve. Just a simple little tip, and you can apply that to however you're going to hold it, or whatever exercise that you're doing if you're trying to get tension a little bit earlier. Cables are a great addition to front raises for a couple reasons, but the biggest one that stands out is usually when you're doing any sort of free weight, you lose tension in certain areas like the bottom or maybe the very top. And if you're doing it on a cable, the tension is going to be the same all the way through. So you can really hit those areas that are neglected and get a more fully developed shoulder, rounder muscle bellies as much as your genetics will allow, but it'll give you the best chance to have that fuller shoulder look and have a stronger and stable shoulder from all range of motion as well. As usual, keep the negative or the lowering portion of the weight under control. That is really getting an amazing stretch on your muscle. And usually, in my experience and from what I've seen, typically shoulders get neglected in the sense of controlling it on the way down. It's mostly exploding up, and that's about it. You're really cutting yourself short, and I would just recommend that you definitely stay focused on that. You might have to lower a little bit of weight, but what are we here to work out? Are we working out our ego? Or are we trying to work out our bodies? And that is it for this workout. I hope these exercises helped inspire you. These can all be interchanged. You don't have to do dumbbells for that deep stretch front raise. You can do that with cables. There's a lot of different interchanging that you can do with this, so just use it as a guideline. I hope it did help you guys out. If you have any comments, questions, or tweaks, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I always read and reply to every one of you. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to watch one of these videos over here. Don't forget to punch in our ticket on that game train. And we'll see you next time on More Self Built.